Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the iRacing Today radio show for today, May the 1st, 2014, I believe is still the year. My name is Trevor Cameron. I am your host with the beard. I was going to say most, but that seemed presumptuous, so I'm not going to go with that. I am your host, and my co-host here is Mr. Chad Dalton. How are you doing tonight, Mr. Chad?
Well, I'm doing decently well. I'm alive.
Decently well. I guess we'll accept that. As opposed to I'm doing crappy. My house has been taken away by a tornado. Would be bad. That sort of thing. Well, I mean, you have those sort of things down there, don't you? And there's been some pretty bad storms down that way.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but not where I am.
See, gotta be thankful for what you got.
Yeah, I'm trying to be. That's
a
nice router you have back there in the corner.
Isn't it, though? Well, I mean, I'm working on the background. I mean, anybody who's watching on the video here, I mean, see, I've got my sign now. So I'm starting to fill out the studio. See, my daughter made that up for me. I asked her to make a sign for me for the old iRacing Today radio show studio. So there it is. See, not bad.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Chad spent a bunch of time before the show actually began trying to, thank you, trying to figure out whether or not it was backwards, and I thought it was reversed because when I see it on my my video screen, it's reversed, and I was in a panic trying to get it to be right, and apparently it was right all along. Or else I'm going to find out that it was wrong all along, and everybody's going, "What's a gnickery?" I don't know what that is.
Doesn't look wrong on my screen.
Well, let's hope that for everybody's screen it looks right. But this is, of course, iRacing Today radio show. We are once again live on YouTube. And
is that a snake or a racetrack on the left?
That is a racetrack. Why would it be a snake?
I don't know, it just looked like a king cobra standing up.
Yeah,
have you ever seen one of those in person?
No, I've not. What should I have? Do you?
Yeah, I've seen one. I've actually seen two or three. They're interesting.
That sounds bad. Like, isn't that like a gonna kill you kind of snake?
Mm-hmm. Yep, it is.
Okay, so the iRacing Today radio show brought to you by Killer Snakes. They're on our sign. It's our new logo.
And what's interesting is that one actually attacked the glass window that it was behind.
Huh. And how did that work out for it? Not too good, I'd imagine.
Probably not too good. There was venom all over the window, so I'm sure the window was dead.
Gross.
Yeah.
That's nothing like a good old slimy bit of venom juice all over a window. I don't even want to continue this. I'm done.
Okay.
Conversation's over.
Good.
But can I go into my wrap up now? Are we good?
Let's see. That's a little car in the top right. Microphone. I like the microphone. She did an excellent job with the microphone.
Well, thank you. I think she did an excellent job on that. I mean,
pretty sure we could just take that and make it our show logo, and replace the mic we're using.
Maybe I'll get it scanned in, and I will stick it on the hood of my car. I mean, I do have that ring with that My Little Pony car that I race, so that I got her to draw for me. So maybe I'll do that one with this one too.
There you go.
All right. I'm multitasking poorly.
You seem very distracted.
Well, I was trying to multitask, and then I was hoping and then the moment I went to go do something, it's like, okay, he's talking, everything's good, the camera will switch to him, and I'll just get to do my thing, and then all of a sudden you stop talking, and the camera's looking at me doing nothing. So that was, well, actually I was typing, so that's awesome. As a male, as a male of our species, I am horrible at multitasking because we're just not built that way. One thing at a time. Except for flailing hands. That can happen simultaneously with the actual talking, I guess.
I can multitask.
I can't. I'm horrible at it.
I'm a beast.
That's disturbing and awesome all at the same time, I guess. But this is, of course, the iRacing Today radio show, and we're going to talk about some iRacing stuff. such as our In the News segment, which is going to bring the latest news and updates from the iRacing and or our show, which I don't think we really have anything to do with our show today. So it's all going to be iRacing news. Me and Chad are going to talk about, I'm going to go with racing experiences. I don't know about you, but I know mine is racing related, not so much actually virtually wise. Although I have had a chance to try the new build, so I'm going to talk a little bit about my impressions on some stuff that I found in there. It is also poll question discussion week, like right now, because it's the first of the month, which means that the poll just closed, like within the last 24 hours or so.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about our track of the week, Twin Ring Motegi. I was so worried about saying Motegi correctly that I decided that ring was going to be the word I was going to mispronounce in that sentence.
I thought you were going to say trip instead of track. We're going to talk about our trip to Twin Ring Motegi.
I've not gone to Twin Ring Motegi. There should be an N in there, is it? It should be like Montegi. That just sounds more correct. I know there isn't one.
I was just really looking forward to hearing about your trip there, but...
We'll be talking about our car of the week, which is the Pontiac Solstice. See, I said it correctly. This is the time where I say, and much, much more! Except for that pretty much covers it, really, I think. So...
Mm-hmm. It does.
But moving right along is the In the News segment, which we need bumpers and stuff and music. Oh, speaking of music-wise, anybody who's watching the show live on YouTube or archived on YouTube, I think I figured out what I need to do in order to get the theme music on the show so that you guys can actually hear it at the beginning of the show rather than having me all of a sudden just staring into your soul and then start talking, which is probably disconcerting to most of you. I just don't have what I need here to do it. So I'm going to try to figure that out as soon as I can, but I think I'm on the right path of that. So next time I head to the computer store, I think I'll probably almost kind of sort of get that figured out. So we'll see if I can get that done for you guys. But our news segment is presented by iRacerstuff.com, which is filled with stuff for iRacers. And .coms.
You're not very good at this, are you?
I'm a businessman. I mean, I'm not a good businessman, but, But it is poll discussion week because the poll has come to an end. It is the end of the month, or more correctly, the beginning of a month, meaning that a month has just ended. And so what was our poll question last month, Mr. Chad?
Well, we asked everybody, what is your favorite track type on iRacing.com? And out of all that, we had a good turnout in the voting, as I guess normally. So thank everybody for voting. But the answers to those questions, or to that question, I guess I should say, we asked you about road course, short track, I like them all, super speedway, intermediate tracks, or other. And the reason why other is there is because I wanted to make sure that I was not leaving out as track type. And I had a panic attack, and so I just said, I'm going to add other.
I'm going to add other just in case I forgot something. I don't know. The triangle, is that a track type? I don't know. There's two of them. Yeah,
I guess it could be. So anyways, the top vote getter, I was going to say which is surprising, but knowing where most of our listeners come from, it's not really surprising.
Did Road Course win?
Yes. 34% of people voted for Road Course. And that, of course, won. 20% of coming home in second said short track. 10% said, or no, just kidding. I can't even read my own notes. 19%. 19% said that I like them all. 14% said super speedway, and then another 14% said intermediate tracks, and nobody said other.
Mm-hmm. And what was I'm in your confusion and backtracking and retractions? What did short track get again? I missed that.
Short track got 20% in second place.
Okay. And what did you vote for? Because I don't actually know what you voted for.
I voted for I like them all.
Ah.
I'm
I
one of
see.
those people. I'm politically correct. No, I really do like them all. Road courses are something that I'm not very good at, but I can keep myself on the track for the most part. But I do enjoy driving around them. Short tracks is something that I really enjoy for a lot of different reasons, but I guess mostly just because I find them easier than other tracks because you have to focus so hard on getting around them, and I'm
Hmm.
pretty good at focusing. Super speedways are fun because that's self-explanatory. I just love super speedway racing. And then of course intermediate tracks used to be the track that or the track type that I did not really care too much for until I actually started getting pretty good at them. And now I kind of have a new love for them. So that's why I voted for. I like them all.
Ah, I see. I was torn between voting for intermediates and super speedways, um, because, like I've talked about in the past, with the skill set that is presented to me when it comes to actual racing, the bigger tracks I usually have a better time on than the shorter tracks. Road courses, I think they're beautiful. I think that if I had the skills to race them, I would probably have a lot of fun. I don't.
Hmm.
But I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe I voted for Super Speedway.
You did.
Hey, okay. And that is, like I said, I was back and forth between intermediate and super speedway, and it's just because with the super speedway racing, that's what I do the most of. I mean, I do obviously when I race in leagues and stuff, I'm racing whatever the track of the week happens to be. Ironically, this week it happens to be Talladega, so I guess I get the best of both worlds there. But I don't know, it's just where I have the most fun. Like it just that's what gets my blood pumping, and it's something I can just jump into without that much practice. I've mentioned in the past I don't have a lot of time to practice, which I need to do in order to jump on track and be safe and not be a hazard to everybody else. I mean, safe is a relative term. I'm not going to injure anyone, but I'm like, ruin their week. So it's one of those things where it's something that I can just at any given time. It's like, oh, a super speedway race is starting. I can just jump in and go and feel confident in actually having at least a decent finish or not being that guy out there. So that's why I voted for that.
Yeah, that's interesting that you said you don't want to be that guy because you've wrecked me twice on super speedways,
Oh,
and
okay.
and both of them were really just kind of stupid, to be honest.
Well, no. Okay. In my defense, the one time I did it was because I was so in tune with what was going on. Said, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to follow Chad because Chad's going to push me to the wind. So whatever he says, I'm going to do. And as we mentioned, you said you're going to have to come high, and all I heard was
Come
come
high.
high. So I immediately went into the side of your car and wrecked you.
Yep.
Understandable. And the second time was stupid.
Yeah, that
Actually,
was
let's
pretty
actually say it's the
stupid.
first time because it happened before that one. But uh,
Yeah.
yeah, that was me getting too big for my britches. I guess that was me being a little bit too overconfident with.
Trying to push where there was nowhere to push.
Well, actually, oh man, are we talking? Was there three times? Because I'm talking about the IndyCar.
Oh no, yeah, there's three times then.
Oh boy.
I was talking about a nationwide race, or a Class B race, in the RCRO where you were on the inside line, and I guess you were like sixth or something on the inside line and pushing somebody, and it they checked up for some reason, and you kind of like got locked onto his rear bumper, and then when they checked up, it kind of shot you. And I was pushing somebody. I'm not sure who I was pushing. And we were the only two cars in the outside lane at that given moment. And, like, literally just timed it perfectly that as soon as Trevor locked off of that guy's bumper and went flying to the outside wall, guess who out of all the people in the entire world that have ever lived, are living, will ever live, Guess who he hit? Right in the side.
Yeah.
And
I seem
then
to have a habit of that.
knocked me into the outside wall. Then I flew back across the track because I didn't have any control of my car at this point. Hit somebody else. Like 3 cars crashed. And I went from just cruising along, pushing somebody, not even paying attention to the guys on the inside, to all of a sudden getting hit, pounding the outside wall, then pounding the inside wall after I drove all the way across the track. And it's all because of one person who drives the 16 car.
See, I was thinking about that IndyCar. Like that was Talladega, wasn't it?
Yes, and that was perfect.
Yeah, that was great. Where especially not only did I do what I did, I had been asked if you could do the thing that I did, and I said, "Of course you can."
You were almost mocking that somebody had to ask you. Lewis was like, "So you can start in first gear," and you're like, "Yeah, why not?
Just mash it. It'll be fine."
And then again, I get hit in the side again, and like the 2 times that Trevor has hit me in the side, like at least most people that have listened to the show know that I have triple screen monitors, and so it's easy to see on the left or right side. But the 2 times that Trevor has hit me in the side, I never saw it coming. It happened that fast. It's just like I'm cruising along, having a good time, and pow!
Like a ninja. I mean,
I'm like, oh my gosh! But the IndyCar crash was more hilarious than it was anything else because of all that you had said leading up to that. And then all of a sudden, Trevor's on the outside of me because I don't know if we told the story. I'm on the inside. I'm in third, having a great race, having a blast. And Trevor's fourth. And he is all about this starting in first gear. I had been starting in second because I tried to start in first at one point, and it seemed to jump a little bit from me. So just as a precaution, I kept starting in second. But Lewis, our teammate, wanted to know if you could start in first because he was doing the same thing as me. Trevor was all about it. Everything's first gear. Love first gear. Please start in first gear. And
when this happened, I was leading. Okay, I was leading on that restart. So I had all the confidence in the world. These suckers, they had nothing for me in my Indy car on that super speedway, man. I had it all down pat.
And I went from being like really fast, just kind of riding around, biding my own time, to on my rough. There's no rough, but yeah, it was to describe it in such a way, it's probably the best takeout I've ever seen. Like if you wanted to wreck somebody, you could not do it any better than that. It was perfect.
See, I'm a perfectionist. I mean, I don't see what the problem is.
I don't know why you had to take me out. You could have taken anybody else out. No, let's pick Chad.
I always pick Chad, unless it's Larry. I mean.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, and what's funny is that all 3 times you wrecked me on a super speedway race was at Talladega. And tomorrow night, the Integrity Racing League goes to Talladega, so I'm pretty sure I'm staying clear away from that race.
Oh, come on, it's gonna be. I'm trying to balance my family life in order to get out there on the racetracks. I haven't been able to race for a bit because I've been away, and so I'm really looking forward to tomorrow night. And I'm hoping, I'll have, a teammate or two to kind of help me out and, talk to and enjoy life on, at Talladega.
Well, you're gonna have to talk to Larry because I ain't gonna be anywhere near you on the track. I'm staying clear away from you. If you're in the front, I'm going to the back.
Oh boy.
I'm just kidding. But yeah, super speedway racing. Going back to the poll question, is if I had to give an edge to any track type, instead of just saying I like them all, I would probably give it to super speedway racing, and it's just because I've always loved being 2, 3, even 4 wide. I was even 5 wide one time on iRacing, and we lived to tell about it. Didn't know I was 5 wide until afterwards. But I've always loved the plate racing, and I wish that because it's like the most popular, I guess, race or races that happen on the oval side, I wish that iRacing would kind of make it, realistic as possible, because I mean, I understand, like, that they're working on other things, and there are other things that are more important because Super Speedway racing doesn't happen every single week. But because it's the most popular, I wish that it would be as close to correct in the real world as possible, just because it would be so much more fun. I mean, like, I really loved the two-car draft when it was there, but now that it's not there anymore, at least in real life, then because I'm all about realism, I don't want it to be on iRacing anymore. And I kind of enjoy side drafting, as Trevor knows.
Yeah.
And for those of you that raced in our little fun races back in November, you found that out too. Now, I don't always hit Trevor, for those of you that were there. I was just goofing off. But side drafting is something that I love, and I'm actually pretty decent at it. And so I wish we had more of a side draft, kind of like what they have in the real cars now. So, but that's just a random side note, I guess, about how I wish iRacing would fix plate racing. But it's still, in this build, I've only done one plate race, and it was actually a lot of fun. But it could have just been that it was Carb Cup and nobody cared.
Yeah, it could have just been that you ended up in a fun race rather than the build made it fun.
Yeah.
Thing.
Yeah. So I'll have to, which I mean, I don't see why I won't be able to race tomorrow, but hopefully nothing will change, and if I'm able to show up for the Daycare Nationwide race, then, and we have a setup obviously that's really good from the last time that
Daytona race, the
Daytona race, which I mean I enjoyed even that race, at least the shootout race. It just seemed like that setup could go places. So if I get to race tomorrow, I'll be curious to kind of play with things. I'm one of those drivers who likes to play with stuff. Like if I was in real NASCAR doing plate racing, I would be moving most of the time. I would just try and be the leader because that's like the safest place. But I would also enjoy going like back to front and then to the back and then back to the front and then back to the back. You know, I just enjoy that. And like if I was in a race where I knew that there was no way that I was going to get wrecked, I would do that the whole time. I would go backwards and forwards the whole race if I knew I wasn't going to get wrecked.
The heck with winning. I just want to pass people and then let them pass.
Yeah.
And then pass them back and then let them pass.
I just want to pass like 1,000 cars at the end of the day. But like I really do, I enjoy that. And so but probably tomorrow if I race, I'll just be staying at the front as best I can.
And all that conversation that we've been talking about with the my incidents, somehow I picture somebody making a meme of me, as the most interesting man in the world. It's like, I don't always wreck people, but when I do, I make sure it's a teammate.
Make sure his name is Chad Dalton. Oh, yes.
All right. Well, moving on into our further news, offline testing, which is something that kind of feeds into some other thing that's been going on. I wonder if this is did this news item come out like just now, or is this something that was already in the works?
Are you talking about offline testing?
Yeah.
I think this just started like a couple weeks ago.
Okay, because I'm wondering if it's because there's two news items that kind of feed into each other here. This item here is that iRacing is working on an offline testing mode. So while in a maintenance, i.e. the service is down for a new build or something's gone horribly, horribly wrong, that you can still test or drive any content you own, i.e. you can still go out there and run some test laps. You're obviously not going to be multiplayer with anybody out on the track, but you can do, the testing. Because right now the way it works is that you still have to log into your account. You still have to log in online in order to test. If you don't have an internet connection, you're not going to be able to test, the tracks, even though it's just you on the track out there without anybody else. So apparently they're working on an offline testing mode, so you can do that while you're not online or the service itself is not online. Apparently the goal was to have it for the most recent build, but it didn't quite make it. So they're going to hopefully get that out soon. I don't know if they're going to wait till the next build or if it's something that they can kind of patch in there later on. I mean, it's kind of a major feature, so I would guess that they're probably going to wait till the next build. But that's just my gut reaction based on the way things normally go. And apparently they've also built a new page to try and provide more information while they're in maintenance, i.e. not just a page that just says, uh-oh, you're screwed, you can't race. And that kind of feeds into something that's kind of gone on this week, and that is this build didn't go well. You know what? The build itself kind of went okay, but everything kind of fell apart this week. Anybody who knows who's been trying to log in, or anybody who's spent any time on the forums, has seen a lot of upset people out there. iRacing fans and people who specifically post on the forums have a habit of being rather outspoken. We've talked about that in the past. It's a very passionate community, and when things don't go right, they're very quick to go out there and start a thread and tell you. And usually, everybody who's upset starts their own thread, and then they argue about whose thread's the best thread for that, and why are you making it. It becomes this whole snake eating its tail thing.
My thread is better than your thread. I put more cuss words in it.
There's already a thread about this. What are you doing? Come visit my thread.
Look, here's a link to my thread. I put in your thread a link to my thread.
Well, there's some listeners we probably lost. But
I don't even post in the forums. Like, if it was not for our little thread about our show, I would not post in the forums.
The forums.
In the forums at all. At all. Like, there's no desire in me whatsoever to post in those forums. There's way too many interesting people.
True. I mean, although as I've brought up on the show, I do peruse there because there's a lot of good stuff in there. But you have to have your internet armor on. You have to understand that you're going to see a lot of garbage and crap you don't want to see in order to get to the stuff that is actually useful and meaningful. Maybe we should do a show on how to navigate the iRacing forums.
Yeah.
But
basically, just don't click on the link. Just go out and drive on the racetrack.
Anyway, we differ in opinion there.
I would stay away from the forums.
But
There's some good stuff in there, though.
There is, absolutely. And I've brought a lot of that. If I find something interesting, I'll usually post a link and talk about it on the show kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So this week, iRacing has had a lot of downtime. Apparently there's a problem. They're working on fixing it. A lot of people got very upset about it. It interrupted one of the NASCAR, the actual main series races where, they're following the schedule along. It's your Road to Pro, that series. Apparently it crashed like 10 minutes before that race was to go live, so that really, really upset a lot of people, and understandable, because a lot of people, they have 3 or 4 slots in a week for that race, and a lot of people put a lot of time and effort and practice into that, and a lot of times people have one of those slots that fits their schedule and they can make it. So obviously, if that was their slot, I could understand them being upset. I mean, don't get me wrong with all what I'm saying. We're kind of having some fun at the expense of internet forum people, but people were upset, and I think justifiably so, for that very reason. So anyway, they've had some problems this week. They're working on it. I haven't noticed anything, but I guess I've just been lucky and just kind of logged in when there wasn't a problem.
The odd thing is that the first couple days after the build, to my knowledge, it was totally fine. Because I signed on first couple days after the build and never had any issues. And then it's like, at least with what I noticed, and I was kind of busy last weekend, so I wasn't really on the website that much, but it seemed like Monday is when everything just died. And like ever since then, or it might have been Sunday night actually, everything's kind of just been up and down, up and down, and up and down, and up and down. So the only thing that I had scheduled anyways was Monday night, the RCRL, and that got, quote, rain delayed because the site crashed which I was kind of glad because I was actually stuck on Monday, and I really wanted to race because it's Talladega, but at the same time, I did not want to race, so it was kind of like, hey, if you're going to have a rain out, perfect time to do one.
Yeah, it is weird because I mean, normally if they're going to have this sort of problems, it happens when you have, yeah, right after the new build. You know, all of a sudden, I mean, you can only do so much testing in a closed environment where you don't have the masses trying to log into the site, and you're going to run into problems. That's just software, you know, especially in an online environment. So typically, if something like this goes south on them, it's right after the build or very shortly thereafter. Pardon me. But this time, to show up like a week later, it's weird. I don't know what happened. I don't have any details. Apparently, they are aware of it. They've acknowledged it. They're working on it. So hopefully, by the time you even listen to this, it'll be smooth and worry-free. Like I'm logged into the site right now. So I don't know if it's fixed or if it's still being worked on, but it's definitely got a lot of people up in arms and a lot of people posting threads about how there's just, you know, this is unacceptable, and a lot of people upset over this one. So
I'm going to go post a thread right now. iRacing, I don't like you. I pay a lot of money to play. Me can't play. Me not like you. Just to see how many people will comment and say, we already have a forum post about this.
Okay, we should stop alienating people who post in forums. Well, okay, we're only alienating people who post garbage in forums, and there is a pretty good crew of them in there. I mean, they're the ones who get their threads deleted. I mean, come on. If you're going to post something that ends up getting deleted, you got to know that you're doing something that's dumb. I mean, like, you know, if they're going to go, I mean, and they do not go, they only delete forum posts that are, like, too, you know, they're venomous, they're like, you know, offensive to somebody. Like, you know, it doesn't happen often, but
Thanks.
yes, you know, if my sign was to post a forum post, then you know, all bets are off, man.
Yeah, people.
So
now that we
right along,
killed the forums, we're gonna do something totally cool.
Yay!
And tell you that if you're not on iRacing, come join us. Because iRacing, as they tend to do several times,
we're horrible business people. I mean, I was thinking when Sean Siff left, I mean, he was in marketing. It's like, you know what? You know, I've got a good vibe into the community. You know what? Maybe I can be the next Sean Siff. Maybe iRacing will be. You know what? That Trevor guy. You know, he's got. You know, he's good with the fans. He's good with, you know, promoting everything. Maybe we should just bring him in as, you know, somebody to work for us. But you know what? In retrospect, that's not going to happen. You know, they're all like, whoa, not that guy, and he just tries to tick off everybody.
Well, they're probably going to say, well, why don't we go after that Chad guy because he lives closer.
Yeah, well,
and in the same country.
Is a thing, I guess. Yeah.
Now, while I'm doing this next news item, you need to count how many friends you have.
Oh, right. I forgot about that part. Yes, our little competition from last week.
Yes. So I will take my time reading this because actually, you know what? I'll just read it really quickly because I'm sure you only have like 20 friends.
Oh, snap.
iRacing is always working to make their game even better. Like we just talked about, they're working around the clock trying to fix it. And they really are. And we do appreciate them doing that. And that's the thing that bugs me about the forums as a side note. I know why people are upset, but sometimes I think we need to have more appreciation that they're actually working on it and they're not just letting it die all the time. Anyways, iRacing is always working to make iRacing better. That's funny. And they recently released a slew of new features, cars, and tracks, as we talked about on last week's show, maybe. I believe, yes. But for a limited time now, new memberships are half-priced. Excuse me. This will expire at the end of May, so May 31st, 2014. It's only on new accounts, and it cannot be combined with any other offer. Check out iRacing.com/membership for more information, and that's every single subscription package, which is either 1 month, 3 month, 1 year, or 2 years. They're all half off, which personally little suggestion. If you're really out there listening and you're really, really wanting to get into iRacing and you've pretty much decided that you're going to join, I would suggest doing the 2-year deal because that's a really good deal. Because that's the best offer to begin with, and then you take half off of it.
Yep.
So that's what I would do if you're really seriously, though, going to commit. If you're just looking to try it out for a little bit, then probably you shouldn't do that in case you end up hating it. Because then you'd be out like $100. But if you're rich, then you probably don't care.
If you're rich and you know it, clap your hands.
Now, did you count your friends?
I did, and then you were talking, and I may have lost count. It's 5,000. I mean, it's a rough guesstimate.
Wow.
Unless I miscounted, I have 74.
Yes! I win.
Are you kidding me?
I have 93.
93?
Yep.
How do you have that many bloody friends in here?
Because I am amazing, Trevor.
Well, I know I would have 76 if either of the David Carters had accepted it, but they haven't, so.
Yeah, but yeah, I have 93. And one studied, which would actually be a friend, but it's my other account, and I don't want to log back into it to accept a friend request to myself.
All right, I'll just remove you as a friend. That way you'll have
92, but then you'll have 73.
Oh, my plan is falling apart.
Not so smart now, are you? Dude, this makes me so excited.
Man, how does that even possible?
I was counting my friends, and I counted all the way down through there and got to 93, and I was like, dang it, I only had 93 because I thought I was into the hundreds by now because it's a huge list.
Yeah, it is.
And then I got kind of depressed when I realized that I had 93 because I was like, well, there's no way Trevor's going to have less than that because he's been doing the show for longer than I have. And, you know, surely he's got all these friends from the past that, you know, just fell in love with him and all of his beard.
Well, you'd think, but I mean, man,
so
I'm
you said
depressed.
74 or 76?
Yes, 74.
74. Cool. I need one more friend to be 20 up on you.
Man,
You need to go add somebody as a friend real quick.
I'm the popular one. I mean, I don't know what do you do with more friends.
Joke. You're not the more popular one.
Yeah,
I even told. Did you see that tweet where I said that I was more fun to race with?
Yes, I did, and I responded to it.
Oh, you did? I didn't see what you said.
No, because I responded to it while you were talking earlier on the show.
Well, I saw my phone light up, so. Well, let's go read that right now so I can see what kind of jab you took at me.
I didn't. I was self-deprecating, so, take that.
I'm easier to beat, so that's got to be more fun.
See?
Poor Trevor.
Cool story, bro.
Poor story, bro. But yeah, I got a lot of green over here. I don't even have anybody on my blacklist.
No, neither do I.
Maybe we should
I
blacklist
have
each
one person
other.
as a studied. Before they had the blacklist, I actually added one person in as a studied, so I could make sure I was never in the same room with them again because they were intentionally wrecking and they were completely in a mess out there. And I put them in my study. This was like 2 years ago. They're still in there. They're still racing.
Yeah.
But, so they're not a friend. They're a study because I just want to make sure. Oh, they're in that room? No, thank you. Now maybe they matured. Maybe they had a seizure in that race. I don't know, but I mean, it was nationwide Road America world tour event, and they were in there just wrecking everybody, and then acting like they weren't. It was the weirdest thing.
You need to go look at what John Hensley just said to me on Twitter.
No, I don't. What is this? This is not.
This has to do with iRacing.
This is not social media.
Go read it. Go read it. But I'll talk while you're reading.
Okay, there we go. John Hensley says, who we've raced with many, many times before.
We interviewed.
And we interviewed, yeah, that's right. He said, iRacing today is better to race with. Its Cadillac just laps people.
So see, I got dissed, sort of, and complimented.
Kinda.
You just basically got dissed.
I'm not entirely sure how to take that. But but
But
John's
yeah,
painted me some more. He's painted me some cars and stuff. So I mean, I got nothing against John, but and it's true. It's all true.
but
And
yeah, I only have the one studied, which is my original account that I signed up with, that I did a whopping 4 races with, and then went away for 3 months, and then joined my own name on the sim. Yeah. I still see that Trevor Cameron is my friend, so all is good. So what do I win for this lovely competition?
I don't know. I brought you onto the show. I mean,
Yeah,
you've
but that
got to
was,
have most of those friends because of this. So I mean, I've already contributed to your well-being.
well, I don't know. Probably about half are because of the show. Other half are because of leagues and stuff.
All right, fair enough. Maybe. Okay, so apparently more people need to friend me, or I need to be more active in going out and making friends myself. I'm gonna have to put myself out there. I'm gonna have to go out there and just start shaking hands, kissing babies, trying to make sure that people,
Sure, ma'am. I'd
appreciate
love to
me.
sign your baby's forehead.
I'll sign your baby's forehead. It says, "I want to go fast."
Yeah. I think that's what you're lacking. See, I'm I'm one of those drivers who gets out there, engages with the fans, signs autographs, talks to them, spends time with them. You're just kind of like, nope, 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 nope. Get away from me. Nope, nope, nope. I got a plane to catch. Got to get to some other country. Get out of
Hey,
my way.
I posted. I mean, and we'll get to this in a little bit. But I mean, when I was at the race at Richmond, I even posted on Twitter where I was sitting, saying, "Hey, come and stalk me, people." People who I even know, there's people who even listen to the show that I know were at the race, and they didn't even bother to come see me. So apparently, I'm unapproachable. That's what I've gathered out of this.
Yep.
So
That would be pretty much what's up.
it's the beard, isn't it?
Probably. You know that I've gone to the racetrack and met a couple people from iRacing? David
I
Ankeny is one of the guys I met.
I knew that.
Yeah, so see?
Actually, it's funny. Side story. Um, when I went to when I was traveling into on this last trip when I went down to Virginia, I have what's called a Nexus card, and that basically just allows me. It's for frequent travelers across the border. Allows me quick access through security and customs and stuff like that. It's very useful in what I do for work. I went into the security lineup for the Nexus card in Toronto, and when I went up to there, there was no. You didn't have to show your card to get into the Nexus line. We all went up to the security person, and as they got there, she just said, are you a Nexus member?" And the two people ahead of me, "You're a Nexus member?" "Yeah." "Okay." And then that was it. End of conversation. Next person comes up, "Are you a Nexus member?" "Yep." "Okay." Let them through. Next person ahead of me, "Are you a Nexus member?" "Well, no. Actually, I have my application in, but it's not in yet." "Okay, fine. Let them through. Shouldn't have, all that good stuff." I get up there. It's like, "Are you a Nexus member?" "Yes, I am." "Can I see your card?" Like, I looked at her. I looked up at the people ahead of me, and now you don't want to cause a stink in airport security because they can do horrible, horrible things to you when you're trying to
Yep.
catch a plane. But I looked at her. It's like I looked up, looked back. It's like, but you didn't ask them for their cards. And I kind of got this semi-serious, but kind of joking look at my face, and I said, "This is the beard, isn't it?"
Nice.
Just kind of laughed. So apparently the beard it makes me unapproachable. It makes security alerts go off in airports. I mean, I've made poor life decisions here, I think, with this beard.
John Hensley now tweets and says that me racing in the ISR Power Series equals more friends. That's where I got most of mine.
Uh, are you
Even
stuck?
though,
Is he listening to the show right now, John?
apparently, even though he wanted me to be like kicked out of ever since he invited me at the first race, he told me he was like, "I'm really sorry, guys, that I invited Chad in to race with us."
That'll make you feel good about yourself.
Uh,
I'm really fun. I'm really sorry I invited this guy. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
I'm such a stupid idiot. My bad, guys. Anyways, wow, we're like really having. There's like 3 news items, and we literally spent about 40 minutes talking about them.
Yes, well, this was our new, this now concludes our social media side of the show, our new segment where apparently we take live tweets and brag about our friends. So,
Yeah, John also says I need a headset because apparently earbuds is not cool enough.
uh, so I got a nice cool headset here. I mean, I even got a microphone I can pop down, and when I'm talking on the, racing and stuff, and oh, yeah, it's great stuff. Great stuff, great stuff. But anyway, moving right along, let's move into our track of the week because we are getting a bit long in the tooth here, and we haven't even finished everything. So,
Yes.
what track are we at? We're at Twin Ring Mahogany. Twin
Which is
Ring
in
Mahogany.
which is in Motegi, Japan. And is one of those unique tracks that is primarily a road course kind of deal, but right slap dab sort of in the middle of it, it has this almost like a Darlington oval,
Yeah.
which I've only driven like half a lap at. Now, the road course part, the Grand Prix course in particular, I have raced the most, and I did a McLaren race and some other kind of race there that I forget. But spent a lot of time at the Grand Prix course. Anyways, track facts. The Grand Prix course is 2.983 miles. We should just round that up and go with 3, but I guess they didn't want to do that.
Nope.
So it has 14 turns, and the pit road speed limit is blank.
Yeah, so you can go as fast as you want. So that's
Yeah,
awesome.
pretty much. Just speed right down that thing.
No, pit road speed. Oh, okay. On the Grand Prix, it's blank. Okay.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, I know on the oval side, it's apparently 45 miles an hour.
Yes. And the oval side has 10 configurations, which is quite interesting.
What? iRacing? What are you doing to us, man? I mean, like, nothing makes sense on this page.
With the Grand Prix
Is that
track.
even a picture of Japan?
I know. I don't think it is. But anyways, the Grand Prix has 3 configurations, so that's good to know. But the oval course is 1.5 miles, and like I said, it kind of looks like Darlington. So if everybody out there knows what Darlington looks like, just picture that in your brain, and that's what it looks like.
Well, okay, it's shaped, i.e., turns 1 and 2 are different than 3 and 4, with one set, being wider than the other, is what it means. But if you actually look at the track itself, it doesn't really look like Darlington.
No, but I was just looking at the track description.
Does the track description say looks like Darlington?
No, I meant the picture, just forget it. Anyways, the east course is another configuration that is 2.112 miles, 11 turns, and again 3 configurations. West course is really short, 0.869 miles, 6 turns.
It's like the Legends Oval of road courses.
Yeah, I know. 37 mile per hour pit road speed. The East course is 37, so I'm just going to assume that maybe the Grand Prix course is also 37.
Okay, now, why not 40?
Yeah, but it's because they're going off of the kilometer thing or whatever that is.
Yeah, the kilometers is 17 kilometers per hour. That's a nice round number, so okay, that makes sense.
I do like the Grand Prix course at this track, and I mean the East course is sort of the same, just a little bit shorter. So I'm sure I would like it too. The West course, I don't even know.
I don't know why.
Yeah. But anyways, the Grand Prix course is a lot of fun, and I mean I took like 1 lap around the oval track on iRacing. Now, one of the games that I played this track on with the oval was Need for Speed, maybe. Need for Speed Shift, I believe, had this track, and I spent a fair amount of time racing the oval track on that game. But I've never really played with it on this, and I remember when this track was always on the oval schedule with the iRacing when it first came out, and like all I remember is that everybody complained about it was like driving on ice.
I was going to say, yeah, that's the one thing I know about this course. I don't have much much experience with it either, other than that, I went out on it when it first came out just to see it kind of thing. But I know that the Oval people hate it. That's about all I know is they do not like this track at all.
Yeah, pretty much. So I only took like one lap, and it was quite interesting, and then I quit. I haven't been back since. So, but yeah, the Grand Prix track I really did enjoy, and I know I did a McLaren race, and it seems like I did something else there, but I can't remember what it was. But this is kind of I don't know. I don't find this track very technical, but maybe I'm just stupid. But I find it to be fairly. I don't want to use the word easy, but that's kind of the best word that I can think of, to where it's not like horribly difficult to pick up because there's a lot of straightaways, and the turns are not majorly sharp. Is why I'm saying it like this. So it's not like you go down this super long straightaway and then all of a sudden you got to come to a dead stop and go somewhere. Now turn 11 is kind of like that. That would be the closest one where you go down that long straightaway and you even go downhill and then you got to turn right pretty quickly, but it's not that horrible, at least for me.
Right, and it's also one of those courses that has a combination of oval and road that's quite unique in the service, in the fact that it's not a typical roval. In fact, the road course basically doesn't even touch the oval course at all. It goes across it twice. At least the Grand Prix one does, while the that last one we mentioned just kind of
it goes under it.
It actually goes underneath, does it?
Yes.
Okay.
And then the front straightaway is like next to the pit road of the oval track.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I'd actually forgotten about that. I knew that because that was one of the things that they mentioned when it came out. It was that was one of the big deals. The fact that this is, I think, the first, if not one of the first, that they actually had over/under going on the course, because that was something that they hadn't been able to accomplish before.
Yeah, I think Suzuka was the first, and then this one came along, and somebody else came along, Oran Park maybe, that needed it.
But it's like I said, it's one of those things where the road course and the oval course, while occupying the same space, are completely and totally separate from each other, which is pretty unique. Also, the fact that it has, you can race this in the night as well, isn't horribly common on the road courses on iRacing, that you can actually race them at night as well, which is always, I've done it, and it can be quite frightening in my experience. Road racing at night is an interesting experience for sure.
You can race this one at night?
Yep.
Wow, I did not know that.
So
I knew you could race Sebring, but I didn't know about this one. That's cool.
And Sebring is the one that's the one that I know I've raced that one at night, and that's the one that frightens me because that's so big and huge, and like I've literally gotten lost on that track. Like I've left the track and had no idea where I was supposed to go.
Wow, that stinks for you. That's kind of funny. The West course is completely inside of the oval track, and the East course is almost totally outside of the oval track, except for that one little stretch there. I might try the East course, go through that one little section there. It turns 2 and 3, like where turns 2 and 3 are, and then where for the East course, and then where the West course is with turn 5 is the part of this is really the only part of this entire track that I've never touched. The rest of it I've been on and really like and enjoy.
I love the fact that when you have your the Grand Prix course, the pit entry, there's just one of those. It looks like a sign that you'd post on a lawn, just a stick with a piece of board on it that somebody went over with a hammer and went bonk, bonk, bonk. Here's your pit entry. Don't hit the sign, please.
Don't touch the sign. Yep, just a white background with a black text, pit entry.
Yep.
That's what you call a fancy sign. Low budget.
Absolutely. So that is Twin Ring Motegi.
One of the cars that you could drive around there, although it might take you like all of 3 years to get around in,
Nice
is
segue.
the Pontiac oops, just kidding. The Pontiac Solstice, commonly referred to the Slowstis by like everybody. But of course, it is a Pontiac, and this car used to be, although it is not anymore, but it used to be the car that was the rookie car. So, like for those of you that are brand new to iRacing and would probably have no way to know this, except for listening to us now, the Mazda MX-5 Cup and Roadsters are now the rookie road cars, but this is what used to be the rookie road cars, was this Pontiac machine.
Yes.
And I remember the days when I first started racing on the roadside. That's what I was driving, and actually managed somehow, by a miracle probably more than likely, to get a couple of wins in this car at go figure, Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, where yes, I do like to hit those cones, as somebody talked to me on Twitter about earlier. So this car, it's fun in one regard and not much fun in another.
Wow. Okay.
I was gonna say horrible, but that would be like really extreme.
Yeah, probably more than you really need to be
Yeah.
beating up on something.
But I do love how the suspension is fully independent. It's good to have a fully independent suspension.
Well, I mean,
And
you know, you want your suspension to be able to think for itself. You don't want it to be
exactly.
just following instructions. I mean, you know, nobody wants a suspension like that.
I mean, if I tell the steering wheel, to go to the left, I want my suspension to say, "Hey, I'm going to the right." So, it weighs 29.48 pounds, which is kind of an odd number, but it is a 5-speed transmission and has 177 horsepower, which is kind of weak, I guess, at least compared to other cars. I love the tires, 245/45 on 18 inches, because I know exactly what that means.
Yep. Well, it's a 245/45 style tire, which means that the rubber is of a consistency of the thread life of the tread, and you can paint your wheels now, but not
Except
on this car.
not on this car, which doesn't help. But yes, this is another car that, if I'm not mistaken, does come included with the membership, right? At least it used to.
I'm pretty sure it does. Does it
Yeah,
not?
I'm pretty sure it does. I was just trying to make sure because I didn't want to like mislead people. But I mean, it is. It's one of those cars that can be good to learn, and because it's not, like I said, it's only 177 horsepower, so it's not like a out of control car. I do believe it has a new tire model as well, the newest version. So it can be a good car to get out there and learn, and depending on who you are and what kind of skill you have on the road, it can really help you advance your skills, I guess. But it currently races in the Grand Touring Cup in the Class D, and it goes out there with the Mazda MX-5 Cup and the Volkswagen Jetta TDI Cup machine as well. So the mixed class racing that it does is, I guess, a good fit in a sense with the other two cars it has to race with. So it is. I did have a lot of fun in the car, and I really did. Like when I was driving it back, I guess in the beginning of 2010. But I guess like it would not be the car like now with all the choices we have on the roadside. Like we didn't have all these choices back then. And the rookie car obviously was this Pontiac, and we didn't have the Mazda at all on the game. I would probably choose the Mazda over this car if we had the option for a rookie series. I just noticed that they have a new logo for the Mazda MX-5 Cup for the series on iRacing.
Yes, they do.
It
Looks very
pretty.
patriotic with all red, whites, and blues on it.
Yeah, seems to be an American type series. But anyways,
like Mazda.
exactly. But yeah, I would probably take the Mazda over this car, but this car is still good, and I had a lot of fun racing it, and especially when I got those 2 wins because they were kind of shocking. Because as we mentioned, I'm not that great at road racing.
And I'm even worse with my 0 wins.
Yay!
But yeah, definitely the Mazda is one that I don't know where that inflection or accent came from. The Mazda.
I love hearing Canadians say that because like the 2 Canadians that I know the best in the world are you and Jeff Ford, and both of you pronounce it almost identically. It's like the Mazda.
But yes, I prefer that. Yeah, when it comes to this class of car, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, so anyway, that is the Pontiac Solstice. Like,
Wow, you really had a lot to say, didn't you?
well, you were talking. I was, you were happy. I mean, you were going. And like you had said, you can race it in the Grand Touring Cup, but if you're going to be in the Grand Touring Cup, race the Mazda.
Now, the next road course car we're going to talk about is that Volkswagen Jetta TDI car, and I actually find that car to be kind of fun, to be honest, but we're not going to talk about that right now.
No, we are not. But I'm going to dip back into our social media, the social media center of the iRacing Today radio show. I've just got a break.
This is why you people should listen live, because you might be mentioned on the show because of social media.
I was just going to mention that I now have a new subscriber to the Red Face Productions channel where we are broadcasting from, and I find it amusing because I now have somebody named Fluffy Bunny 8806 subscribed to my YouTube channel. Now the question is, does that mean that Fluffy Bunny 8805 to 1 were already taken?
Yeah, probably. I'm sure they were, actually.
Okay, I'm going to name Fluffy Bunny 1. No. Fluffy Bunny 2. No.
3.
A long night. Martha, put on a pot of coffee.
Martha? You automatically assumed that would be the wife's name.
Yes. I mean...
By the way, this is quite sad. I have 39 subscribers on YouTube. You have 37. So, come on, guys. Gotta start subscribing to me. I cannot let Trevor catch me.
Yeah, but I would see. I've got the main event. I've got this show on there. So
actually, provided that. Oops, sorry, I just punched the mic. So long as nothing. I got excited for a moment. So long as nothing keeps me from racing tomorrow, or today, if you're listening to this tomorrow. There you go. That's a tongue twister. So long as I can race at Talladega in the IRL with Trevor, provided that he does actually get to come, I'm going to video that so that I can upload it to my YouTube channel, because it's been a while since I've been in a race where I was able to upload it. The last race that I did that I actually did video was Texas, and then the battery died on the camera like halfway through the race, so I decided not to upload it because it seemed kind of pointless. That's a random side note.
So actually, that's something that we talked about that we were hoping to do, and hopefully tomorrow we'll be able to pull it off. Where I'll have the stream from my perspective, and then Chad will have his, and then so that'll kind of give you an overall view of two people who I would say are of, I don't know what that was.
I was laughing at what John Hensley said on Twitter. He said, just to clarify, I'm not Fluffy Bubby.
All I know is that all of a sudden the channel switched over to you on the Google Hangout, and you made some sort of noise, and all I saw was an armpit, and it looked like you were falling out of your chair.
I got shot. It's like,
It's like, oh, cliffhanger, and now we're done.
That was great.
That'll be able to give you guys a bit of a different perspective on two very different driving styles and two very different drivers. I would dare to say.
And since it's a super speedway, everybody loves those, so it'd be great.
Yep. So hopefully
we're gonna commit right now. We're committing.
I can't commit because
yes, you can. Screw family.
No, I have 2 kids and my wife's out of town, so I have to make sure I have them in good places before I can commit to actually racing. So But hopefully, all things being equal, then I'll be live streaming my Talladega race tomorrow night, and then hopefully it will end up being a good experience for that. So I can have an
Yeah,
actually stream with you
hopefully
for a little bit.
you won't crash me.
Well, that would be great. Although, would it be not great, or would it be great if it happened after we talked about it?
I don't know. It depends on what kind of mood I'm in tomorrow.
So, I guess before I start rambling on about my iRacing experiences, so to speak, anything of note to mention from this week with you behind the wheel and on the track?
I've been behind the wheel, but not on a track.
Ah,
I'm
going
just
to
in my
work and
street
stuff.
car. Yeah. Pretty sure if I started racing there, I might have a blue light special in my rearview mirror.
Yes, indeed.
But no, I haven't done any racing because the only race I was going to do was Monday and the website crashed.
Yeah. So, as we mentioned, people love that.
Mm-hmm. Yay, forums. So,
Okay.
how about your new bill? What do you think about it?
Well, I went and took some laps out there just to kind of get a feel for some of the new content and some of the new things. Like I mentioned, it's a very maintenance-y type build, other than the new content itself, but not a lot of really drastic changes. So I went out and took some laps at COTA, Circuit of the Americas. My initial impressions of it, again, I swear I say that every time they bring out a new track, but it's like every time they make a new track, they've learned so much that they can actually make it better. Like driving around that track, like it is beautiful. Like it is wow. And it's one of the road courses that I have seen several times because I watch F1, and so I've watched them race around it. So some of those corners and stuff I was kind of familiar with. I mean, I just took out the Mazda out on it. Nice slow car, nothing that you're probably ever going to see on that track. It's a pretty large track, but it was something I could control and actually just get a feel for what everything looked like. So my first impression was, A, it is beautiful. Two, the elevation changes weren't as drastic as I thought they were. We've seen a lot of tracks, Bathurst for a great example, where there's been some very drastic elevation changes and stuff, and they weren't as large as I thought they were on that track. That kind of surprised me, actually. Obviously, it's true to life. It's laser scanned. It's just I always thought it was more up and down on that track than there actually is.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the fact that there's so many sharp turns on that course, I didn't realize from my experience of watching it. The F1 guys race there and stuff. Like they love to let you go real fast and then make you do a hairpin, then go real fast and make you do a hairpin on that course.
Yeah.
Another thing that I've noticed, and I don't know if they're going to tweak this or not, is the fact that they're really picky on the 1X areas, the off-track places. Because I was going around the course slow and get up on the curbing and stuff, and it's not grass on the other side. It's still, it's painted track, basically. But you go on the other side of the curb in a lot of those corners or a lot of those areas where there's curbing, and you're getting a 1X. That's off-track, which I kind of found surprising. I thought they'd actually give you some runoff area to get off the tracks. I don't know if they're going to tweak that or if that was as intended, but I could see a lot of people getting, well, I know if I was to actually go through a race there, I'd be just dinging up the points because it's like, because you go around the corner and you take some of the curb and you could go a little bit further and you're not going to spin out. It's not grass. It's, you can easily transition over there and boom, 1X, 1X, 1X when I was practicing. So I thought that was a little picky.
Yeah, I think I read a forum where they were working on that.
I wouldn't be surprised because that just seems way too stringent.
Almost seemed like they fixed it though.
Well, it was a couple nights. It was Tuesday night that I was out there doing it. So it was only a couple nights ago.
Yeah, maybe it was just in my mind. Now let's see here.
You'd be amazed that the things just happen only in my mind. So I mean, I'm sure you'd be similar.
Yeah, no, they fixed. They did fix something with Circuit of the Americas, but it was not that.
Ah,
They improved how the visual track service aligns to the physical track and moved the rolling start grid for the West config up so it's past the cone barrier.
None of that affects me, but
nope.
I also took some laps around IRP, Lucas Oil Raceway, which,
It's really ORP.
yeah, so that always confused me. Anyway, I noticed that, I mean, that's another great looking track. It has that kind of grungy local short track feel to it. Like like they even modeled on, tire marks on the walls and stuff. Like it looks, I don't know, old and beat up, I guess, but in a beautiful way. If that makes any sense.
You're old and beat up, but you're so beautiful. I love you, baby.
No, I'm disturbed. But
Yeah. Don't ever say that to your wife.
oh goodness, that seems like a horrible idea. But I took the late model around there, and
Which one?
the old school late model.
The normal one.
Yeah.
The
Well,
non-super one.
the non-super one. The Clark Kent of late models. But it was while I was racing around that track, I actually stopped and had to go out and check the release notes to see if they had, because I've been in the late model for a while, if they had changed the sounds on that car. I know they did some sound updates a while ago, and I know they'd done some sound updates in this one on some various cars. And I went to actually check to see if that was one of the cars that was affected, because holy crap, that thing sounds awesome. Like, it's been a while since I've been in the late model, yeah, but I know it didn't sound like that, or I swear it didn't sound like that when I was racing it, because just the guttural backfire noises when you get off the gas and you're trying to roll the corner, and man, like that, it made me want to go and race the late model, like immediately drop everything I was doing and just start racing the late model again. And things sounded so awesome.
I haven't been in it in a while.
So I'm guessing that probably it was one of those ones that got updated a while ago, because it wasn't in this one, but man, that thing sounds sweet. And then in comparison, I went out and jumped into the super late model, which I've owned and actually hadn't raced any laps in yet. And two things, I know this isn't directly related to the build, but two things that stuck out at me. One, I don't like the noise of it after the late model. I mean, it sounds, I don't know, kind of electronic-y, high-pitched, whiny kind of thing, as opposed to just that 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 the late model has. And holy crap, that thing's fast. Because I was racing laps in the late model around IRP, and it's like, okay, I got a feel for it. I mean, I'm not doing good lap times, but it's okay. We're doing things. And then I jumped into the super late model on the same track, and it's like, whoa, okay, the corner's coming up way too fast.
Yeah, it's much faster.
So that was IRP and Coda. I changed the color of my wheels, and you were right. That really adds some character to those cars. I really love that. I made mine red to kind of go with the red that was in the paint scheme, because my paint scheme is basically has black, red, white, some yellow in it kind of thing, and white didn't look right, and black was, well, why bother? Yellow, no thank you. So the red looked really nice, so that really did add a lot of character. I can't wait to get into, well, a league race like tomorrow night and start looking at some replays where everybody has their different wheel colors. I bet you that'll look pretty awesome, I'd imagine.
Pretty.
Well, I was gonna say, I didn't know, I don't know, I didn't know what the next word is, so I just repeated the same word until I heard the new word.
The thing that I found in the Super Series Carb Cup race that I did, which was the day after the build came out, and everybody, by that point had time to play with it, was some people did it the way that where you match it up with your paint scheme. So like if you're like with you matched it up with yours, I matched it up with mine, and then some people just had randomness on their tires. It was kind of distracting. So I don't know if they did that intentionally to distract me, or if they just did it because they wanted to be different. But I saw one car that was, oh gosh, what was it? It was like a greenish type car, and I think it had like purple wheels or something like that, and it was very distracting while I was driving 200 miles an hour. I was like, that car looks weird.
I don't like it. It's scary.
I want to wreck it. But yeah, I've seen some weird colors just based off looking at the paint scheme.
Right.
But I really like my white wheels. They're awesome. I'm so excited.
So I thought that added a lot to to the character of the car, which is pretty cool. And the other thing that I did play around with was adjusting the UI elements, like how you can take your split time and or your black box, I guess, move that around and stuff. And it's funny is the first thing I did was it's what Alt K in order to enable that, and basically it highlights each of the elements, and you can take your mouse and drag them around to somewhere else on the screen. And as I started dragging a couple things around, my first thought, I got scared. My first thought was, well, what if I don't know how to put it back? And I couldn't find if there was a command for go back to defaults. I mean, there is. And it's like, well, wait a second. I don't want to do this. So I started moving stuff around and trying to move back. It's like, I don't know if that's the exact right spot. And then I thought about it. It's like, you know what? It's cool for people who want to adjust things a little bit where they want to, maybe it would be better for them if it was here. It would be better if this was there, that sort of thing. But my thought was, I've been racing this with this interface for like the last 5+ years. Why am I going to change it? Obviously, I know where everything is. If I start moving stuff around, I'm not going to know where anything is. So change is scary. So I stepped away from it. I hit Alt K again, turned it off, and ran away from walked away, actually backed away from the entire situation. So
just back up and nobody gets hurt.
So that was my basic. That was the few things that I got a chance to check out with in the new build. I did jump into a super speedway room, but just to practice, but never really got drafted with anybody, so never got a real good feel for if there's any big differences there. But that's what I tested so far.
I wonder if there is, or it might have just been that one room, but I just seem to be able to suck up and side draft a lot better, but maybe it was just the room. But yeah, the user interface stuff, like I'm one of those people who like wants to move that stuff around, to move it around, but yet at the same time, I don't even use any of it anyways.
Right, and you go for a very minimalistic approach with your interface, so.
Yeah, I pretty much have nothing on, literally, like nothing. And I mean, you can see that in those videos. Like, I don't even really use my relative screen anymore. Don't tell anybody.
Ooh, that's like the biggest rookie tip that we give out there. Is like, for the love of Pete, every time you're doing anything, just have that screen up.
Rookie tip. I'm no longer a rookie. But I've gotten comfortable with using the virtual mirror and because I have to, but I've gotten comfortable with it and with the spotter. With some of the features they've made with the spotter, and I'm just very observant with my mirrors and knowing what's around me, so I feel safe with doing that based on my ability. Not recommending it for anybody else. I'm just with where I stand with my length of membership now and my comfort level and my ability to know what's going on around me. I've been doing that for actually a couple months now, and haven't caused a wreck yet because of it.
I have it on, and I still cause wrecks, but only with you.
Yeah, so. Only when I'm around.
See, that's why you don't see it coming. If you had your relative screen up, you'd be like, oh, Trevor's close. I'd be on guard.
I can tell when you're in my mirror.
It's the beard.
Yeah. I'm like, oh my gosh, the Wolverine's behind me.
See, that's the next thing that they're working on for the next build is, the
facial hair
beard model.
You can add facial hair to your driver now that will see through the helmet that he's wearing.
If you zoom in really, really, really close on the replay, you can see just through the visor. You can just see the facial hair there. It's totally worth the effort.
Yep. That is something they need to start working on right now. Drop everything else. Top priority, beard.
Yep.
Beard model.
As long as they call it the new beard model.
Yeah, exactly.
Version 5.
No, it's version 1. Because we've never had one.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so... But, I don't know, that I'm kind of like you. Like, I've been using it for so long in the position that it's in, why would I move it? But I wish there could be, but I hope that there is a way to like reset it to default.
It
Like
probably is.
if you
Yeah.
move it all around and it's like, oh, I don't like any of this. I mean, I kind of know where all their defaults are anyways, and mine are still essentially in the default areas. I kind of moved them a little bit, um, but then I moved them all back to where they basically were. So
Right.
mine are essentially in the default. If there is a button or something that you can reset, they're not going to move very far. But I'm tempted to like move them back and let them be. Because I don't know. I don't really use them anyways, so I don't care.
Right. So that was the new build for me. Just a quick, we're running a bit long this week, so I don't want to ramble on too much. But I did visit Richmond International Raceway for both the nationwide race and the Cup Series race on last weekend. So that was pretty cool. It was my third track now that I've actually had a chance to go visit, which is cool. So now I can add that to Dover and Martinsville on my list of tracks that I've actually seen real live races at. The racing was fine. It was fun. You throw in a scanner and you're listening to all the officials and all that stuff. And then of course Greg, in my ear and stuff. So that was kind of cool. Greg had a crappy night. He kind of had a good first half of the race and then all fell apart.
I'm just glad I don't have to paint a new nationwide car.
Although it was funny, when I was in my seat there for the Cup race, I found the other Greg Biffle fan because there was a lady who was sitting a couple seats over from me, and just as you're looking around just to see who's around you and stuff, and she's sitting there, and I noticed that she had a Greg Biffle shirt on, like a T-shirt. It's like, oh, okay, so another Biffle fan. Then I looked, and she also had the lanyard with her ticket on it, and that was the same lanyard I use for work, because I had somebody buy that at a track a couple of years ago that so I use that where I put my work badge on. It's like, oh, okay, so she has that too. That's neat. And then as the night went on, it got a little colder, so she put on a hoodie. It was a Greg Biffle hoodie. It's like, okay, so she's really into this, man. Okay, I just got my hat on, but
Yeah. I think she's more of a fan than you are.
Well, and then it got a little colder in the evening, so she put on her jacket, and it's the white 3M crew jacket. So, like, okay, I give up. Apparently, not only am I not the only Greg Biffle fan out there, I apparently am not even in the same league as this lady. So,
Nope. Yep, she's definitely got you beat.
it was actually really convenient because I've noticed that race fans, like now that I've had a chance to go and watch races, a few races live, race fans have a unique body language about them when they're watching a race. I mean, you go to hockey games, you go to football games, and you see people, and they'll get excited when the action is getting intense or somebody scores and stuff like that. But race fans tend to, I guess that's what it's a lot of hand motions. I've noticed, that the drivers can't see. You're not really giving energy to the drivers while you're doing it, but people do their own little things when their driver is doing stuff. And this particular lady, anytime Greg got a fender in on somebody, so he was getting ready to pass, she started doing this wave of her hand.
Yeah.
So she's doing this thing.
Come on through.
And so it actually became a convenient thing for me because I'm watching the race. Most of the time I'm watching Greg where he's at and whatnot. But I mean, I'm watching the battle for the lead. I'm watching some of the close battles. And so I could watch wherever I wanted on the track. And then out of my peripheral vision, if she started doing her little hand flip thing, then I go find Greg because I knew he was doing something. So it was kind of a my own little picture-in-picture sort of thing happening. Okay,
Yeah.
Watch the race. Oh, she's excited. Where's Greg? So.
Yeah, it's pretty funny what fans do at races. I know that my friend John is a big Jeff Gordon fan, and he said one time at Martinsville, the guy that sat directly in front of him for the entire 500 laps
Okay.
would stand up every time Jeff Gordon drove by and give him the bird. All 500 laps.
I hate you. I still hate you.
I've hated you 499 times. One more time. But yeah, it's pretty interesting to watch fans. I can usually tell when Dale Jr. is doing something.
Oh,
because there's like an earthquake.
yep.
And I can usually tell if Kyle Busch is wrecked because there's another earthquake, but for opposite reasons.
Yeah, and it was a couple other little observations. It was disappointing that the during the driver introductions at the beginning of the race, or also before the race, that how they have failed to capitalize on this, and maybe it's just not his style, but the fact that when they say, when they come in, and starting 10th, I don't remember where he started, and starting 10th, driver of the number 48 car, Jimmy Johnson, that he doesn't come around through that little corner with a microphone in hand and say, I'm Jimmy Johnson. Boom, confetti, and they just throw confetti up in the air. How is he not doing that?
I know.
That would be perfect.
It really would be. One of my favorite driver intro things was at California a couple weeks ago when, or I guess it was California, when they did Dale Earnhardt Jr. and they were like, and driving the 88 machine, Dale Earnhardt Jr. And then Kyle Busch ran out. That was perfect. And they asked him about it like afterwards, and he's like, man, I've been wanting to do that for so long. And he's like, I'm so glad it finally happened that we were starting, pretty close to each other. And it was like the perfect opportunity for me to like run out there. And then of course Junior ran out and like pushed him out of the way laughing. It was great.
And also, I've never seen so many cars catch on fire as I did in those 2 nights.
Yeah.
I don't know what was going on. It was, mostly in the wheel wells and brake fires and stuff. But man, a lot of cars on fire.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the opening lap where Clint Boyer dumped poor old Kyle Larson on the very first turn. It's like poor kid gets his first pole and then Nelson's like, all right, and go into the first boom, and he's around. It's like, what just happened?
It's like, hey, that was the greatest 455 feet of my life. I led a cup race.
But anyway, and then of course that was the cup race, and then Friday night, sorry, was the nationwide race, and man, did it rain.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm huddled underneath the bleachers, and I'm looking out at the scoring column, and it has weather advisory written down on. It's like, take cover and make sure everything's this, and I'm checking the weather on my phone, and like it was thunderstorm warnings and a tornado watch, and I'm sitting there huddled with hundreds of other people underneath this big metal structure in the middle of the field, thinking, what could possibly go wrong here? So,
we're safe.
So I did get to see the Air Titan go out in action. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I got to watch that at Bristol. That was interesting.
So, but that was my week. And then, as I mentioned last week, I was going to try to get some videos from out on the track and stuff. And unfortunately, I didn't get out on the track because the lineup was huge. So I didn't get out there. So I took some stuff, but there wasn't anything really worth. It didn't have any real entertainment value, so I didn't post anything out on my page because there wasn't anything worth posting. So, and before I stop rambling, I've mentioned, of course, to anybody who's watching live on video, I have my new sign that my daughter has made up for me, and she's also been doing these things with this thing called a rainbow loom, which is basically it's this loom type thing, and you put a bunch of colored bands on it, and you make bracelets and rings and things like that, where you kind of do this weird doop thing, and all of a sudden they're all stuck together. I don't know, it's magic to me. So, and I don't wear, I don't want a bracelet, and I don't want anything and stuff. It's like, so she wanted to make something for me out of a rainbow loom, and I thought this was pretty bloody cool. I'll put I'm sure I can talk to our social media and advertisement section of our podcast and get a picture up on Facebook once I take a picture up, i.e. that's Chad, and I'll try to get a picture up on my Twitter feed, maybe the website, that sort of thing. But she made me my car out of these rainbow. I mean, this is all just elastic bands and stuff all stuck together. I don't know how she did it. I think it's amazing. If you kind of look, it even has 16 on the side of it. Like she made my car out of bands all stuck together. I think that's just the coolest.
Turn around. Turn it the other way.
It says 60. It says 61 on the other side. Yeah. That one says 16, I think. Yeah, that's the 16, and the other one says 61 because she says, yeah, well, it says 61, but yeah, it's you know what I mean.
16 backwards.
Yeah, So I think that's pretty dang neat.
I have something to show everybody that I made when I was getting ready to do the show. And let's see, right there.
3 friends, 1 study.
There we go. That's what I did.
So, anyway, that's enough rambling about real-life racing and rainbow looms. And I think we have gone on just about long enough, Mr. Chad. What do you think?
Yep.
So, that will about do it for this week. Big thanks to all of you out there for listening. Remember, the show is available for download on iTunes and Zune under the podcast section, where we would really appreciate if you would give us a review if at all possible. And, of course, you can watch it live on YouTube on Thursday evenings at approximately 9 o'clock Eastern Time, unless we have to change the time like we did tonight, and I'll let you guys know about that on Twitter. And that's under my YouTube page under Ratface Productions. You can find it over there by searching it, and all the links and all that good stuff. And you can also check out the website for information, archives, links, and the polls we mentioned, with a new poll up today. You can check that all out at our website over at iRacingTodayRadio.com. Follow show news through Facebook at Facebook.com/iRacingTodayRadio, and Twitter at iRacingToday for myself, and at It's Chadillac for Mr. Chad.
And please email any questions, comments, and poll suggestions that you may have to feedback@iRacingTodayRadio.com. And, of course, feel free to continue to add me as a friend on iRacing.com, and not that little guy in the corner. No response at all?
No, I slide. I gave it.
Okay. Well, anyways, add me and Trevor as friends on the iRacing.com members website. And in case you're new, I'm just Chad Dalton, no numbers. He's just Trevor Cameron, no numbers. Until next week, though, ladies and gentle cars, remember, the race is rarely won in the first turn.
But it is often lost there. Good night, everybody.